So yeah, I guess I should do that stuff then, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Yes.
Greetings, everybody. We are back again here for our fun little Sunday night chats. Today I was carrying my little super freak. Well, not little super.
Just the regular super freak.
Yeah.
Joe, what were you carrying?
I was carrying. Oh, it's Joe.
Well, somebody
Go ahead,
said Joe. I'm running with it. -5 fluted carbon fiber S90. I'm not tired of this thing yet. I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing it week after week at this point, but it's fantastic. It's just fantastic.
It's a good knife. I'm gonna go now. I'm carrying the 450 because it's also a great knife, and I actually changed the pocket clip. Put the pocket clip on the correct side. I'm carrying it front right pocket, and it's fantastic.
Good stuff.
And I'm carrying. It's a new to me. It's the Tops little bugger.
Very cool.
And I've already played with the edge a little bit, as you can see.
A
So
little bit.
that's a new acquisition for me. So
Very nice.
yeah,
Very
cute
nice.
little guy. Basically a fixed bladed tough light, but made out of 1095. So
That's the knife
Yeah,
he's talking about for reference.
Yeah.
I just happen to have that sitting next to me. How do you like it overall so far?
it's pretty fantastic. It's weird. It's a hollow grind.
Really?
But I still turned it into, or I tried to turn it into just like one primary edge and got rid of most of the secondary bevel because I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So
Fair enough.
but yeah, I've carried it all weekend actually, and I'm a pretty big fan actually. So
Very cool.
Are you hip carrying that?
I am. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm almost carrying it like appendix style, like where you see the cops put the TDE just left of the belly button type of thing, up and down there, and it even just sits. It's small enough that it sits pretty conveniently there.
And
And if I am bending and twisting, I just slide it off to the one side. And
Yeah, you do.
is
sometimes when you sit down, you got to slide it off to the one side, right? Like
On that note, I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to Darren, Justin, Mr. Fisk, and Ben. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
Good day, fellas.
What are y'all carrying? Yeah, that's the thing. There was one other thing, and I was talking to Mr. Fisk today, and he sent me a photo of one of our members who had liked a photo of his. And by one of our members, I'm sure we all four of us probably liked it, but it was specifically Joe that had liked this half serrated Sabenza photo. And I think, Joe, that you should say what you said to me today about the half serrated Sabenzas, or the serrations on Sabenzas specifically.
that I really like them. Like
Yes.
I do. I like that they're alternating from side to side, like one bevel or one side of the knife to the other. Each, it's just a really cool way to do serrations. I just wish that they had less of them, or that they took up less space on the edge. Like, it's close to a third of the blade on the Sabenza. I'd like to see it like a quarter of that edge, half serrated. Like, kind of cool.
if you're gonna embrace it, do like the rest of us and just fully serrate it and be done with it. Just
Yep.
I have decided though that if I do make a knife that is fully serrated, it's gonna be that style serration with the flat tops in between, because I just think that's kind of cool. But I don't think I'm gonna make a half serrated knife though. I think that's half-assing it.
I want you to make a half serrated friction folder for no reason at all.
Oh.
I just want to quickly say that Mr. Fisk is currently carrying an egg roll. Darren Windsor has had a fang, and Ben is carrying his grandfather's vintage Ireland Sabre 644 pocket knife because he's been doing some packing around the house. So
I got some
cheers to that.
Yeah.
got some Googling to do.
Yep.
Indeed. Get on them Googles.
Before we get into any questions or anything like that, I'm gonna call myself out as being an asshole doing this, and I definitely encourage any of you to do the same. But I'm gonna propose a little drinking game that anytime Paul says on that note, someone has to drink.
Are we trying to give people liver damage?
I don't know. Well,
We're trying to
for it because there's a second part.
Uh-oh.
Anytime that Paul cringes when he catches himself saying on that note, you take a drink as well.
Not fair.
And like I said, I encourage you all to do the same to me or to anyone else as well if you feel like it, because we all have our own verbal tics for sure.
Well, I've called him out on most definitely as well.
Yeah,
That's on my posts. So
what I say.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if I had alcohol here, I would join in on that, but all I've got is Monster water and Coke Zero, so it's...
We're going to get a really hyper Joe is what's going to
Why
happen.
would I use many words when few words do trick?
Yes.
Question mark.
On that note, what's going on, Zinks? Justin wants Joe to make a fully serrated knife with the opposing sides, but with the flat Cutco edges in between. And then he wants Nigel to sharpen it because apparently he doesn't like you.
No.
It's the only explanation I can think of for giving somebody that kind of work to do.
And to test out how sharp I've gotten it, I will use it to flay his skin.
Whoa!
By
We went
his
dark in the first part. This is in part 3 even. Jesus!
Look at the work he's subjecting me to. What do you think I'm going to respond with?
I was just going to say it's going to quickly become the most unserrated knife ever. Like it's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Justin is also saying that the dankest drinking game is to take a drink every time you see a Scandi ground knife on DBK.
Yeah. So talking about liver damage.
Mr. Fisk is saying to take a drink anytime Joe looks holier than thou. Look of holier than thou disgust.
Just drinking all the time. Just constant flow.
Anytime Nigel says anytime Nigel says dirty or that's what she said.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how people have the term of like the resting bitch face? Joe just has the resting holier than thou face.
It's because I know I'm better than all of you.
It could be worse, Joe. You could have ended up with the resting milady face.
My person, I'm so close to being a fedora as it is. Like,
I know.
I hate it.
Take a drink anytime Dennis mentions how many knife he owns.
I don't know how many knives I own.
I was gonna say, like, do we have a number on that?
I think that should be transitioned into anytime Dennis referenced the pile of knives he has right here.
Yeah. Pile of knives right here. There's a pile. Drink again.
Oh no!
All right. Apparently that's the game we're playing. So.
I gotta make sure I have beer for next week. Apparently.
Oh, it's not going to end well.
No, I've got the next day off. I have minimal.
Me too.
What is that? Repercussions for that? Yeah.
Although not next week. Should we mention now that we're not going to be around next week?
We could mention now. Yeah, we'll mention throughout, probably all 3 parts. Yeah. Next Sunday,
guys,
probably won't be.
We're not going to be around next week.
Screw you guys. Me and Dennis are running to the forest.
See, okay, so here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And I thought it would be super funny, and I'm not guaranteeing it's happening whatsoever. But I know I can get service if I climb up to the top of the hill.
Nice.
Where we climb up.
Yep.
And so if we did a quick live zoom from Instagram on the top of the mountain, even
That
if
could
it
be
was
funny,
me
yeah,
and
yeah.
Nigel sharing my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
I like
Kind of
yeah,
make
I'd be down for that. I mean, not too long, obviously, because that's just gonna rack up your bill. But yeah, I mean, shit, why not?
Mr. Fisk and Darren both just unsubscribed. And
Wow.
then Ben's response was, "Take a drink anytime Mr. Fisk says he's unsubscribing," which
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
yep. On that note, did we want to talk about a few new NAFs that came in?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do that.
We can.
I should probably know the name of this, shouldn't I? Luckily for me,
Might
it's
be
on the
helpful.
box.
Yay!
And it's the CRKT directive. Yeah, it's the directive. I read that correctly.
Yep.
Joe held it up beside his smock, and it's not the same, but we know what you did.
Yeah.
Okay, just for the record, I don't know which one's first. Probably the Smock Custom, probably the SK23. But
Yeah.
yeah, as far as a production model goes, those two knives may or may not have come out close to the same time, just because it's a new knife on our shelf, right?
That's fair.
It
That's
just
fair.
The only thing I'm going to throw into that is the time frame of when the smock was announced to when it was released, and that was a frame for CRKT to hear about the hype and make their own sort of thing to catch up, maybe.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I have no idea.
Although it is it's a lurch design, so I guess if we're calling anybody out, we're calling him out. And I'm definitely not trying to call Lurch out for that.
How dare you, sir?
Ultimately, it's a reverse Tanto knife with a flipper and a finger choil, which, as far as the custom goes, it at least has that part.
Yeah, I mean, if we're throwing shade on reverse Tantos, Osborne would probably get in the mix on this one and be like, "Hey, wait a second, you just put a finger choil on my knife, right?" Like it's
Also, apparently, Mr. Fisk now wields the power of drunk people. And that's terrifying.
No.
And much
power
less
to drunken people.
Yes.
Power to drunken people. Excuse me. Just as bad.
Isn't that every live stream we have? Like,
apparently, he's going to hand out drinks like he's Oprah.
Everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package.
Also, it's a dual choil CRKT. Apparently, Justin likes that.
Almost a dual choil.
Yeah.
It needs like another eighth of an inch, but almost. It's not scary like the smock. I can get my finger in there and it would still be usable, but it's definitely would be a concern for me.
Your fingers work well with a large pillar, right, though?
It's kind of the same boat.
Same sort of problem. Okay. Yeah.
I guess I should probably mention it's a polymer handle, and I want to say it's 8CR 13 MOV.
14, sir. They added one more chromium.
Ooh, one whole chromium.
Fancy.
How dare they?
You could have drinks every time I say and you would be drunk by the end of this sentence. There is one thing that at least me and Dennis were talking about, and I'm going to hold it up close so you can see my scars. They did a really nice thing. There's the pocket clip, and then the drilled out section here, they gave you a little tabby that goes into that pocket clip area, which is pretty nice. But then they gave you a hole up here and over there, and apparently those little tabbies are expensive, so they didn't bother giving you the rest of them.
Yeah,
interesting.
I thought that was silly.
That's kind of funny. I mean, I guess if you want the grip area to be affected less by the absence of a pocket clip, it makes sense to do it there if you're going to do it, but it definitely looks strange. Yeah.
Indeed. Mr. Fisk wants to know if it's a metric chromium. Yes, it's 1 metric chromium.
Keep your imperial chromiums to yourself. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Filthy Americans.
And Justin saying there's literally no way for it to be worse than his 54 HRC Oz 4 M16.
No, he wins. He wins that battle for sure.
Yep, true story.
Who buys?
I don't know. I don't know if it's something out of winning, but hey, good job, you won.
Congratulations.
You win the gift of sharpening.
The gift was inside you all along.
BB in chat, what's going on, brother? What are you carrying tonight? Is it Brandon?
Brother? Yeah.
What's going on, man? What are you carrying tonight? Also, it's got swoopies on it.
Swoopies.
See?
Swoopies. And the swoopies are actually even on both sides. It's symmetrical. I'm so happy about that. That pleases me.
It's better than bad. It's good.
And they got away with branding it on both sides. CRKT there and there.
Mm-hmm. They do like their brandings.
They'll get you. They'll get you every time.
There's not a whole billboard on the back on this one. There's no IKBS and everything else in this knife, so at least there's that.
That's good.
Just a question. Probably Teflon washers, I'm guessing, almost guaranteed.
There actually appears to be brass. They don't look like bronze phosphor, but they actually do look like brass in this.
Cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's intriguing because that leads me into actually the fact that thing's a smoking good price point.
What are they running?
I don't know if you can actually see it. You're never going to see that on camera.
Yeah, no.
But I can see it. It is 100% brass.
Wow, good for them. Good for them. It's like $55 on our shelf type of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So
$39.99 US on CRKTs, I want to say. Something like that.
I was putting it right in the same kind of like price, not necessarily price point, but same kind of ethos of use and like functionality as the Caligo. As far as the people that are going to find it interesting and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's got kind of that.
I mean, the price point is on par with like any bird knife that's out there.
Oh yeah.
Similar materials and whatever, right? So.
Yeah.
It's stylish. I do like the cleaver kind of cutthroat razor-esque looking blade. Is that a hollow grind on that thing?
He's busy reading the chat.
I see.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
What was that, Joe?
Is it a hollow grind?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. That was
ultimately it doesn't matter what Joe said, so it's fine.
Thanks.
You can definitely see the hollow.
Very cool.
I didn't actually think that was going to work. Brandon's asking in chat whether or not we think that Corona is going to drop or hold up next season's knife drop. And it might. It held back shot our blade show.
Yeah.
I think it'll just change. I think maybe not as many releases as we're normally used to seeing.
I think the big thing is probably going to be the shipping aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's going to be a number of things, not necessarily from all different makers, but there seems to be certain makers that are having more of an issue in this time than others right now, as far as getting new product out to shops and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
One in particular comes to mind. Yeah.
Yes. Which answers Brandon's next question, whether or not his GI Tanto came in. And the answer is no, because that's a Cold Steel. And yeah, unfortunately, Cold Steel is one of the companies that seem to be a little bit behind because of Rona, which it's the name of the game right now. Shit's going to happen, especially when a lot of your products are made overseas and just like importing and quarantining for that kind of stuff and everything else is
just
going to slow things down.
If you listen really quietly, you can hear Benchmade laughing.
That's actually just my cat. But
Oh.
Ebony's loud tonight. I don't know. It's weird.
Fair enough.
Great. Excellent.
Indeed. On that note, I'm going to give somebody lever damage. I don't care. What was it? I said it wrong last night. Inara? The CRKT Inara, which this is a sweet little blade, man.
It's kind of cute. I kind of dig it.
Yeah, like I like the symmetry of the bevels on the butt of the knife and the reverse tanto. Apparently, there's a theme.
Yeah.
Even in the way that the kind of fullers in the blade travel all the way down the handle, which is really hard to make show up on camera because everything's black and it doesn't. There we go. It's a nice flow. There seems to be some an art student made this knife. Let's put it that way. That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no negative space, but that's all this knife is lacking. And again, G10, 8CR, is it 14 for this one as well?
I don't remember on that one, probably.
We're going to call it 8CR. 8CR steel.
Yeah. I know for the other one because it made me chuckle, but I don't remember for that one in particular.
I've heard that 8CR13 MOV holds an edge slightly longer than the 8CR14, and that 8CR14 is easier to resharpen, but practically speaking, they're going to be so close.
Yeah, for sure. And that makes sense because of free carbon that's not tied up in a chromium carbide. With that extra chromium, that could be why you get slightly better edge holding. I don't know. You have the book, Joe.
Yeah, read the book.
Yeah. About halfway into that thing. It's awesome.
Wouldn't the slightly increased amount of chromium also increase its rust resistance, I should say?
I was going to say it should rust less, but yeah. As long as they didn't increase the amount of carbon, yeah. Basically, as long as it didn't form carbon or chromium carbides, that should be the case. Not that 8CR13 is particularly rust prone either, though. They're both.
No, not at all. Oh, Darren's now double unsubscribing because we're talking knife science.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, Darren. If you unsubscribe, I don't know, is he still a Patreon member? Does Fisk win runner-up and, there's only two of you right now. Seriously. Both winning stuff right now, so stick it out till the end of the month. I'm just saying, dude. It's
going to be a stalemate, so they, no, I want to win it all. No, I want to win it all. No, me. And neither one of them will actually unsubscribe.
There you go.
It's the hope. It's the dream.
Mr. Fisk is now talking about how he wants to start an anti-Pokey Factor channel. We already had this conversation. I'll send Nigel the image, but there was the what's the word I'm looking for?
Conversation?
No.
Logo?
The logo that he came up with, which, he found on the internet. To be honest.
It's one of those high-effort channels, right?
Yeah.
And as I said before we started recording, it smells like maple syrup. I'm just saying.
We're not going back down that rabbit.
After that logo just gets popped up, it's perfect timing.
We're not going down that rabbit hole again. I know what it smells like.
No. The logo will explain everything. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll totally forget to send it to Nigel. No one will have any idea. I just realized now, and it should have been apparent, but this guy's running on IKBS, which is why it's just so popular.
Interesting.
Happy.
Yeah, it's got a great action.
I was gonna ask what kind of bearing it was on, but very cool.
And I'm curious on if it's the caged IKBS. and there appears to be Teflon washers, so I'm assuming that those washers have the bearings. Either that or they're really lying to you about what an IKBS system is.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, there's
People already taken their money.
definitely things I want to like about that knife, but it is just too minuscule for me.
Really? But I thought you were getting into smaller knives.
It's not necessarily just the length, but how slim and how like there's not much purchase for me.
Right, it's
in any dimension.
Too narrow.
It's a very
and too
small
thin.
knife and narrow and small handles.
Okay.
Short. I can understand why it wouldn't fit his giant monster mitts.
Yeah.
Mr. Fisk is saying he doesn't actually hate Canada, just me. Which, thanks, buddy. I know I'm number 2.
Can we take his logo and sub in Paul's face?
For the Canadian flag? Fuck you. No. And I think Brandon's taken off, so have a great night, brother. Always
Brandon,
nice seeing you.
Have a good one, Brandon. I'm
Happy
excited for the trip in a couple weeks here.
Indeed. The thing that I'm just realizing now, because I have the Rook 662 in front of me, is that they're damn close size-wise. Like they're, which is part of the reason why I think I like the Inara so much, is that it's just right in that tiny little knife.
But I think the Rook fills out the hand a lot better than the Inara.
Yes, for sure. But as far as like carry in like a suit coat or something like that, or
it's an art piece. Like you were saying, with the streamline, like follow through, it's very much an art piece. Like even Joe's Art Deco.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Which I happen to have.
Where I think the cutting tool almost becomes a secondary factor compared to the stylization of it, type of thing, almost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sweet little blade.
CRKT does that to me. I'll end up buying knives I wouldn't otherwise touch, like blade steels I'm otherwise not interested in, but because I like the design so much, can't help it. I just, yeah.
Mr. Fisk is mentioning the Pisana again, which no matter how much you request it, unless it goes up in Patreon, are it's just not happening. I refuse. And on that note,
my neighbor's sauna is going to be so tainted after it's all said and done.
Yeah, tainted's a good word for it.
Knife number 3. I appear not to actually have it here.
Good job.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Joe?
So speaking of CRKTs that I just have to buy because I like the design so much. Yeah, I'm not going to try and pronounce this. Axolotl? Named after the Aztec god. What is it?
Axolotl.
Axolotl.
Paul, would you like to? We both looked it up phonetically, and it's Xolotl. It's like an SH or an SCH. Xolotl.
Xolotl.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It almost sounds like shallot in one of the pronunciations that I heard. But all of the phonetic spelling was always like a 3-part word. So
this
and
guy...
it's not a salamander. It doesn't have the A at the beginning. It's different.
Yeah.
The salamander's an axolotl.
Yeah. They're cute. They're really cool looking.
Cute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is literally the exact same spelling except for with an A. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the knife, not the lizard, is concerned, though, tip down carry only, little stylized clip. One of the smoothest flipper actions I felt out of CRKT in a long time. Teflon washers. I think CRKT, for me, has kind of earned a bit of a pass when it comes to Teflon, at least at this price point. They do it so well with no blade play that I can't really find a good reason to complain. The thing that kind of surprised me about this, when I saw it online, when it was first announced, I assumed, rather than reading the description and figuring out then that I was wrong, this is G10, not polymer. I thought it was yeah, I assumed it was going to be like a cast plastic handle, in combination with a 4116 stainless blade. I was like, there's no way I'm going to want to grab that. And I ended up grabbing the other CRKT folding dagger, the Psych, instead, initially. Other cool thing with this guy is the little butt cap pommel striker. You can see right next to my scar. It comes to a really crazy point.
Yeah, as far as like CRKT goes and their general, not going to say bad production, but can be a little sloppy and a little loose with their tolerances. That thing is so clean. I was very impressed with it.
It is.
Yeah.
And
it was that butt piece that like clicked it in. I was just
Nigel was impressed by the butt piece.
Oh yeah, I was.
I'll use my forehead here to create some contrast, but you can kind of see the curvature on that handle. Doesn't quite match the curvature.
I think Joe's about to stab himself in the eye.
No. It's one can hope. No, then the blade's closed because I wasn't worried about that, but because it would be me. It is actually hollow ground, which is.
I didn't mean the blade.
No, but it is, which is awesome. This is convex though. It's actually rounded across the handles, which it's not much because it's a really thin piece of G10, but it's
I know what you're talking about, Paul.
Thanks for that.
Me too.
Terrible.
No, he's talking about the actual point on the pommel.
Oh, this
the
too?
pommel
Yeah.
is hollow ground.
Yeah, that looks like it's
Hollow ground?
No, I was gonna say like almost scalloped by like it was
hologram.
Is it hollow grinding if you do it with an end mill though? I don't think this was done with end mills. I think this was probably done on a belt.
I'm gonna say yes, it is hollow grind because if it's not flat, it's either going to be convex or concave.
Right, but it's not technically
that's hollowed.
But if it's done by an end mill, is it really considered a grind?
Yeah.
So I don't know, because like an end mill, it cuts steel. It doesn't grind away steel. It cuts it out.
Yeah, but if you cut the primary bevel on your knife with a CNC and you made it hollow ground, what would you call it?
It'd be
it was the blade.
See, that's my problem. I don't know if it's hollow.
Hollow grind.
I just don't know about grind though. It's just the semantics weird me out. That's all. It's just a quirk of the English language.
Hey Joe, can you mute yourself?
No.
Darren's actually saying in chat that Joe has that look, so take a drink.
Oh, there it is. The holier than thou.
Also, Justin is also saying it's hollow milled, which I like.
Yep. The other reason I bought it was because it really reminded me of my rigid dagger. Up to the little bitty at the top there. Yeah, it's just pokey. It's just really fun. And yet another tip down only knife that I actually really like to carry in tip down. I'm surprised.
Okay. I dabbled on tip down when I first played with it. This is the same principle that an SOCP dagger or SOCP folder is tipped down, in the same principle that when you deploy it, you've got a Kubaton or a hammer striking or a whatever point of nastiness.
Pretty nasty on this particular model, just looking like you have the sweep on the front end with the steel liners in G10. You have that nasty pommel on the back. That's cool.
So when it comes to deploying from tip down,
up to a really nasty point.
Sure does.
Hollow milled.
It's been hollow milled.
I find your observations rather hollow.
Like your soul.
Oh.
Yeah, what I was going to say, though, is that it has levels of aggression. You can go from a completely, I won't say completely non-lethal.
I was going to say,
to a.
I wouldn't want to
You
get.
stab him with a blunted piece of steel, or you could stab him with a sharpened piece of steel.
All I know is I wouldn't want
The choice
to.
is yours.
I would not want to catch this on any piece of my body. Really, like that would hurt like a mother.
It's fantastic. Oh, it's so fantastic.
We didn't even talk about one of the more geeky aspects of this knife. The edge, the dull spine edge, I should say, is nested so deeply into the handle that you could indeed sharpen the back end to have a folding dagger and not have it cut you in the pocket. At least unless it partially deployed, in which case you have other problems.
And the spine is thin enough to be sharpened pretty dang easily.
Okay, so here's a question. You've got the Inara with you there, Paul.
Yeah.
How nested is the spine on the Inara?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raised up. Okay.
Did you want to
The
sharpen
handle
spine?
might encase it. Well, no, it's just ridiculous, and I thought maybe 2 out of those 3 knives that we were showcasing, because it's streamlined, right? So
It's super streamlined, and like all the lines follow, but it is kind of raised up for sure.
yeah. All right, continue on. And I know the directive is the same way. So
Yeah.
The psych
Oh.
is close, but not as close. You can see it kind of lines up. You would
come on, the serrations are already there for you, Joe.
yeah,
On the one side.
flat top serrations. Oh, that's horrible.
Better than flat bottom serrations.
yeah, it is.
No one likes a flat bottom.
It's true.
Better to have a fat bottom. Because those
Dirty.
fat bottom girls make the rock and roll go round.
Get on your bikes, ride!
Wait, if I said dirty, does that mean we don't drink, or should we drink anyway?
You drink twice. Mr. Fisk is saying, when I was in art school, which
Dirty.
I can only assume is mocking Joe, I feel
No,
like
that's just the start to a very, very dirty story of some orgy or something.
Nigel and I have both been to art school, the same art school, years apart. We know how it goes.
the way that I read it was when I was in art school, pushes my glasses up, like nerdy, like.
Yeah.
Let me reminisce here for a minute, Mr. Professor.
Indeed. And then Ben is telling us to stop being so hollow, which that's a dad joke. Straight up dad joke.
Yep.
And then Mr. Fisk said unsubscribe, so on that note.
Well, while we're talking about hollows,
On
this
that
thing
note.
was surprising as hell to be hollow ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what the hell? I assumed it would be convexed. Or flat or
as soon as
scandy
I
or
took the
something.
stone to it, it was very obvious that it was a hollow ground blade.
Huh.
Yeah.
Was it a deep hollow? Was it a fairly shallow hollow?
Oh no, it was significant enough. Yeah,
Okay. How thick is
So-
it at the spine?
actually crazy thin. That's
Okay.
the other thing with this thing. For a tops knife, this is one of the
Yeah.
thinnest tops knives I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, I
Like,
had it
yeah.
in my head that it was like double that thickness. I was expecting like
No,
a 4.5 millimeter backing or something.
It's ridiculous.
expecting the
It's
top side.
absolutely fantastic. So it is light as a feather. Like
Mhm.
I was going to say at like
Do you
3 or
have-
4 mil, it would make sense to be hollowed out.
Do you
For
have
that.
the
And then-
scabbard? Yeah, there it is.
Kydex with just like a J clip. So other cool thing about this that I didn't mention earlier. What time are we looking at, by the way?
It's 7:55.
No
So
time for food.
A few minutes to talk about it. But almost.
Yeah. Matt Graham designed. So the Condors,
Yeah.
blah 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 guy did one that for all the ultra marathon races, the Nevada through the desert, 100-kilometer, blah blah blah. He wanted something thin enough that he could clip to just like literally a pair of shorts, and with this
Yeah.
J clip and what it is type of
cool.
yeah.
So
And
what
I
I'm
put that
hearing-
on pajama bottoms this morning while I was, and I was like, yeah, that's light enough. It doesn't matter, type of thing, right? So
What I'm hearing is you could wear it instead of a bug out if you're wearing basketball shorts.
it's a good alternative. Yes. and I'm tactically ready for anything.
Did I hear Benchmade in the background again?
Monday morning coffee.
Did I hear Benchmade in the back again?
What's this now? Benchmade in the back? No, that's Ebony.
No, I know. This is a joke.
Justin's asking if it was a Sleepy Hollow.
No. And with the amount of caffeine that's in my system right now, definitely still
It was
sleepy.
only a napping hollow. It wasn't full out sleeping.
Don't
Yeah.
fall asleep
It
with
was
that
kind of
grinding
a
wheel.
groggy hollow.
Hey, Dennis, I unsubscribe.
Words.
You're not allowed.
Somebody
So I
decided
think
to start this as a drinking contest, and that was not a good idea.
So I think I figured out a sure way to make sure that Mr. Fisk stays subscribed
Mm.
Yeah.
with his excitement in the chat here. Was that a cat? Show the cat! I think he wants to see your cat, Dennis.
You gotta
I
show
think
off the
we
cat.
can kill the cat when we come back, just to
At the
make it.
very
Oh,
least, it'll be
I
a
see.
part 3 episode when Ebony
Yeah.
makes an appearance. Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's like that terrible, like, there's only one good thing to hold on to an entire show, so they keep it for the very end, and they're like, stay tuned till the end.
Kids, I'm going to tell you an incredible story. The story of how I met your mother.
And then it's just
Yep.
like a minute and a half of just like a letdown at the end. That's what Ebony is. It's that part
Sure.
3. She's going to be the
So-
minute and a half of letdown at the very end of the
Don't
episode.
call,
Yeah.
don't
On
call.
that note, we're going to
Mr.
leave it
Fisk
here
is,
with
why
that.
are you still talking?
But yeah, because we're leaving you with this giant cliffhanger to keep teasing you along. So on that note, we are going to take our quick little break here. Suggest everyone goes and takes a drink and ruminate in your head about what sort of colored cat Dennis has. See if you can make some guesses.
Guess what color Ebony is?
Guess.
Wrong answers only.
On that
So
note,
yeah, we will be back shortly with everyone. Catch you soon.
We don't need